Hello fourth year students. In this video we are going to talk about two more types of questions in English. These two types are called tag questions and declarative questions. And you are going to see that they are similar to the yes-no questions, to the type of yes-no questions that we have talked about previously. So we are going to start with a tag question. And a tag question is a further type of a question which conveys positive or negative orientation. So you see here, because it is oriented either positively or negatively, this means that it is going to be answered with yes or no. This is one. Second, the tag question is appended to a statement. And the second feature of a tag question is that it is not a question that is used just like other questions individually. No, it is a question that is used by attaching it to a statement. For example, the boat has already left, hasn't it? So hasn't it, this is a tag question, and you see when we make this tag question, we attach it to a statement that comes before it. Another example, you aren't throwing these shoes away, are you? So again, are you is a tag question that is attached to a statement preceding it. So what are the rules that we should follow in forming or making a tag question? Rule number 1 says that the tag question usually consists of two items, an operator plus a subject. If this tag question is negative, here we negate it by using not. And if you remember, we said that not has two forms, either a short form or a full form, complete form. And so in spoken language, in the informal English, we said that native speakers prefer to use the short form. In this way, you are going to attach this short form of not to the operator. Put it between the operator and the subject. But in the formal English, mainly in writing, you have to use the complete or the full form of not. In this case, you are going to put it after the subject. So the correct order that in which you make your tag question is the following. Is he, for example, is he, isn't he, can't I, will you, could you not? You see here not is used in its form, that's why it is put after the subject you. Could you not, did they not, and so on. Rule number 2 says that the operator is the same as the operator of the preceding statement. So if you want, when you want to make a tag question, you have first of all to choose a suitable operator. How you can use to choose, or from where you are going to get this operator? You are going to take the same operator that is found in the statement. This is if your statement is having or contains an operator. Here you have to use the same operator that you have in the statement. For example, I haven't met you, have I? You see, in order to make the tag question have I use the same operator that I found in the statement, which is also have. But suppose that I have a sentence with a lexical verb and there's no operator, or a sentence with the verb to be. Okay, so in this case, if I have a lexical verb with no operator, here I can use one of the dummy auxiliaries, do or does or did. We choose one of them according as we learned to the tense and subject of the statement. For example, he likes his job. He likes his job. This is a statement with no operator, with only a lexical verb in the present tense with third person singular. So the suitable operator that I can choose here is does. So the tag question that I can attach to the sentence is doesn't he? He likes his job, doesn't he? Okay. Suppose that you have a sentence with the verb to be as a main verb. In this case, you can use the verb to be here to be the operator in your question, tag question. Rule number 3 is related to the form of the subject that should be used in the tag question. In fact, the subject in the tag question must always be a pronoun. From where we are going to get this pronoun? Here you have to also to go to the original statement. If you find that the original statement has a subject in the form of a pronoun, so use it as it is. But if you find that the subject of the statement is a noun or a noun phrase or a clause, here you have to replace it with a pronoun and use it in the tag question. Number 4, if the statement is positive, the tag is negative. So you see here the statement and its tag question are opposite in this feature. If your statement is positive, make your tag question negative. And if your statement is negative, here you have to make your tag question positive, and so on. Number 5, the nuclear tone of the tag occurs on the auxiliary. So what are we going to put the tone here? The tone is going to be put on the operator of the tag question, on the auxiliary of the tag question. What is the tone that is usually used to say or to produce a tag question? It is either rising or falling, and there is a difference between these tones, which means that producing a tag question with a rising tone is going to be different in meaning and in answer from the question that you are going to produce with a falling tone, and we are going to see how. Okay, types of tag questions. We are going to see that these tag questions are of 4 main types according to the tone that we are going to use in producing them. So type number 1, or the structure of type number 1 of these tag questions, will have this form: positive assumption plus neutral expectation. So positive assumption means that the statement is positive. Neutral expectation means that your question is going to be neutral in its orientation, which means that it can be answered by either yes or no. The speaker does not expect any specific answer. So this means that when we say that positive assumption, that your statement is positive, so your question here, or the tag question, is going to be what? Negative. Which tone we are going to use to produce such a question? The rising tone. It is the rising tone. Okay, so for example, he likes his job, doesn't he? He likes his job, doesn't he? Okay, so here the speaker is actually asking because he needs an answer, and he does not expect a specific answer. The answer can, for such a question, which is doesn't he, can either be with what? With yes or no, positive or negative. Type 2, negative assumption, which means that your statement is going to be negative, plus neutral expectation. Neutral expectation again is going to be found where? In the subject. The subject is going to be of a neutral expectation, which means that it also can be answered by either yes or no. The speaker is not expecting a specific answer. What is the structure of this question? It is going to be what? Positive. Why is it positive? Because you see, the statement is negative. So for example, he doesn't like his job, does he? He doesn't like his job, does he? Okay, you see here we put the rising tone again on the auxiliary, and here the speaker is actually asking. He's asking, or she's asking, a real question because the speaker needs an answer, and the speaker is not expecting a particular answer. The answer to such a question can be either with yes or no. That's why we say that this question is of a neutral orientation. So the tag questions in these two types are produced with a rising tone. You see, the meanings of these sentences, like their forms, involve a statement and a question. So first of all, we started with a statement, and then we ended with a question. Each of them, that is, asserts something So the statement is asserting something. The function of the statement is to assert something. Then invites the listener's response to it. Then, but when we ask a question, okay, we want a response from what? From the listener. For example, sentence number 1, when we say he likes his job, doesn't he? So what the speaker here assume? He assumes that I assume he likes his job. Okay, so you see here we are asserting something. I assume, I propose, I think, I believe that he likes his job. Am I right? You see, am I right? So I want to listen to your opinion as my listener. What do you think? Do you agree or not agree? Is it clear? Sentence number 2 means the opposite. I assume he doesn't like his job. Is it clear? So because the statement was what? Negative. He doesn't like his job. So what does the speaker assume? He assumes that, or as a speaker, I assume that he doesn't like his job. Am I right? Again, am I right? I am asking for my listener's opinion, which can either be with what? With yes or no. Okay, so clearly these sentences have a positive and a negative orientation respectively. Now, when we come to types number 3 and 4, we are going to see that they are similar in structure to types number 1 and 2, but different in tone. Okay, so type number 3 has a positive assumption, so the statement is positive, but the expectation, which is found in the question, is what is positive. What does it mean that the expectation is positive? This means the question is oriented to one answer only, which is positive, which is what? Yes, which is by yes. In type number 4, you have negative assumption, so your statement is negative. And to this statement, we are attaching a question with negative expectation. What does it mean, negative expectation? This means that the question is oriented to the negative answer. Okay, which means that the answer is going to be with what? With no. So here, as we said, the tone is going to be falling. In types number 3 and 4, the tone that we use to produce the tag question, the tone that we put on the operator is a falling tone. He likes his job, doesn't he? You see? He likes his job, doesn't he? He doesn't like his job, does he? So this is what? A falling tone. So what do these two types number 3 and 4 mean? The tag with the falling tone, it will be noted, invites confirmation of a statement. Okay, and has the force of an exclamation rather than a genuine question. So you see, it is not a real question because here the tone is not rising. When we want to make it a real question, here we have to use what? The rising tone. But since the tone is falling, so it is not a real question. Here the question or the structure of the tag question is used only to make what? To make an exclamation, to say that the speaker is surprised of what he finds out. Okay, in this it is like exclamatory yes no questions with a falling tone, so as if we are making a yes no question, okay, but with a falling tone. You remember when we explained the yes no question, we said that they are produced with the rising tones. But suppose that we make a yes no question but with a falling tone. Here we are not asking a real question, but we are making exclamation, we are showing astonishment, we are showing surprise. For example, isn't it gorgeous, father? Isn't it gorgeous, father? Here I am not asking for an answer by yes or no concerning this father, okay? But I am showing my astonishment. I am surprised of how gorgeous this father is, okay? A very important note that is also related to the types of tag question. So there is a further less common type of tag questions in which both a statement and a question are positive. You see, there is another type of a question of tag question. It could be type number 5, okay, but it is less common than the previous ones, the previous 4 ones, in which that both of the statement and the question are what? Positive. Is it clear? What about the tone that we are using to produce the tag question? It is rising. You see, so the tone is rising, but they are different in what, or such questions are different in what, they are different in structure, in that both of the question and the tag question are what? Are positive. Here, this situation is characteristically preceded by O or so, indicating the speaker's arrival at a conclusion by inference or by recalling what has already been said. Okay, so here again, because here we are deviating from the rule of making or structure as the suitable structure of the tag question, this means that again we are not asking a real question. Here the speaker is making a conclusion. He has some logical introductions. Okay, something happened, and when he is, or the speaker is thinking of this thing that happened, he has come or she has come into a conclusion. How is he or she is going to form his conclusion or her conclusion? They are going to make this in a form of a tag question. Okay, for example, you've had an accident, have you? You've had an accident, have you? You see, so here, suppose that I came to your house and I saw that your car was broken, was destroyed. Okay, so what I am going to come to a conclusion that there must be an accident happened to you. So I'm going to tell you about my conclusion in a form of a yes no question, or sorry, a tag question that has a structure in which both of the statement and the tag question are going to be positive, but I am going to use the rising tone, okay, in order to make or to produce the tag question. So I'm going to say, oh, you've had an accident, have you? Okay. So this is what we have about the tag questions, their structure and their types. Another type of questions that are also similar to yes/no questions in their answer and in their tone are called declarative questions. Here it is said that not all yes/no questions have subject-operator inversion. Okay, so we learned that in order to make a yes/no question, we have to make this inversion between the subject and the operator. But when we want to make a declarative question, we do not need this. We do not need this inversion. We keep the subject in its place and the verb in its, or the operator in its place. So the declarative question is a type of a question which is identical in form to a statement. Okay, you see, the declarative question is similar to a statement in form, in that it starts with the subject followed by the verb, except for the final rising question intonation. But the declarative question is different from the statement in tone. Statements are usually said with falling tones, but the declarative question is said with a rising one. For example, Joan spoke to the boss. Joan spoke to the boss. Okay, so you see here this is called a declarative question. It starts with the subject followed by the verb, but here at the end I am using a rising tone in order to tell my listener, I am here asking, okay, and I need an answer. Declarative questions show their assertive feature through not using non-assertive forms. You remember we said before that because they are the yes/no questions are questions, we use in them what? Non-assertive forms. Okay? But here with the declarative questions, because they are or they have a structure that is similar to a statement, here we have to use what? Assertive forms. Is it clear? So the guests have anything to eat. This is an incorrect declarative question, because here we have used what? Anything, and anything is a non-assertive form. Although this is a question, okay, and in tone, but by the tone, or the tone here is making it a question, but we do not need non-assertive forms. We have to use the assertive form. So the correct form for such a question is going to be the guests have something to eat. The guests have something to eat. You see, here we have used something, and although this is actually a question and not a statement. Declarative questions are similar to enforce to tag questions types number 1 and 2. You see, if you remember, the tag questions are types number 1 and 2. We said that they are produced with rising tones and they have a neutral expectation. What does it mean, neutral expectation? It means that they can either be answered with yes or no. The speaker is not expecting a specific answer, is not oriented towards a specific answer. So here the declarative questions are also the same thing. They are said with a rising tone, and the speaker here is actually using a real question. And the speaker here needs what? An answer. And the answer that can be said to such a question can either be by yes or no. But if you are, again, changing the tone of the declarative question from rising to falling, or you are using a negative declarative question, here you are going to be oriented towards what? A specific answer. And this answer can either be positive orientation, which means it's only by yes, or negative orientation, which is mean that it can only be by no. Here the speaker is not really asking a question, but he needs only what? A confirmation. And he already knows that this confirmation is going to be given to him or her by either yes or no. Okay, so with this we have finished dealing with two more types or two more forms for the yes no question, which are the tag question and the declarative questions. Thank you.